Hello, welcome to my dear learners. This is Manavendra Devnath. Once again, I appear before you with a new class. Here you see the new class Unit 1, Lesson 3. Unit 1, Lesson 3. Textbook page number 12. Textbook page number 12. You see the title here, Valentina Tereshkova. Valentina Tereshkova, one of the greatest astronauts of the world, Valentina Tereshkova. And here in the class, I will introduce you some important words and phrases from this particular lesson and their meaning, and you will see some questions will be shown from this particular lesson, and afterwards as well you will see some flowcharts and some other important points to make a better rearrangements from this particular text. So my dear students, in my previous classes in this particular unit you could learn a lot from the Father of the Nation's biography. It was the lesson 1, unit 1, and later on in lesson 2 you could learn a lot from a revolutionary who struggled in his life and became successful to become the first black president of South Africa, Mr. Nelson Mandela. And here you will see another famous personality. This is called Valentina Tereshkova. Valentina Tereshkova. And I will introduce you some renowned words and phrases from this particular text. You see, distance learning, skydiving, aero club, expertise. Expertise means skillfulness or special knowledge in particular topic, that is expertise. Cosmonaut. Cosmonaut, that means a person having trained to travel in space, in outer space. Cosmonaut or astronaut, they travel to outer space by a space shuttle or a space vehicle, and it is called a spaceship or a spacecraft. Yuri Gagarin, very familiar name, Yuri Gagarin, the first man who traveled to outer space, and this man is from Russia, and also Valentina Tereshkova is also from Russia, former Soviet Union. Yuri Gagarin first traveled to outer space in 1961. Soviet Union. You must have heard this name, Soviet Union. It was a union of 15 states, including Russia, Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, like this. And the former name of this great country, the abbreviation was USSR. That means Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, USSR. Proletariat. Proletariat, this is working class people. The working class people in Russia, they were called proletariat. Working class people. Weightless flight, isolation test, centrifuge test, spacecraft engineering. To travel to outer space for an astronaut, he or she has to be trained in this particular aspects: weightless flights, isolation test, centrifuge test, spacecraft engineering. MiG-15 UTI-Jet fighters. MiG-15 UTI-Jet fighters. This is a great model of Russian fighter planes, MiG-15, MiG-21, MiG-29, even the sophisticated one, MiG-31, one of the greatest fighter planes made in Russia. Solovyova, another cosmonaut who was a backup cosmonaut of Valentina Tereshkova. Nausea, that means vomiting condition, a kind of sickness, particularly when an astronaut flies into the outer space, he or she has to face this kind of sickness, nausea. Aerosol layers, the layers of cloud of solid or liquid particles in a gas, that is called aerosol layers. Vostok 5, Vostok 6, this is a model of a spaceship that was launched from Russia, Vostok 5, Vostok 6, and from this particular lesson, Valentina Tereshkova went to outer space by Vostok 6, a spaceship. Launch pad, that means a place from where the spaceship is launched for a flight to outer space, that is called launching pad. Valery Bykovsky, another astronaut, Soviet regime, the time of ruling of former Soviet Union, that is called Soviet regime. And Mars is a small reddish planet of our solar system. Earth is a planet, Saturn is a planet, Mercury planet, and Mars is the fourth planet in the solar system. So these words I have designed, and I am sure from these words and phrases you have learned some more informations that could be effective for your learning and for your examination as well. My dear learners, you can ask yourselves what the words can actually identify a particular lessons in this aspect of Valentina Tereshkova. Here you see an information given, born on 6 March 1937. Valentina Tereshkova's date of birth, 6 March 1937. Now, I like to introduce you with some questions from this particular lesson. Some questions you see. What does the word cosmonaut refer to? Very common question. What does the word cosmonaut refer to? Number B. Who was Tereshkova's backup cosmonaut? Who was Tereshkova's backup cosmonaut? And here I showed you a few minutes ago, Solovyova was her backup cosmonaut. Solovyova was her backup cosmonaut. That means the backup cosmonaut of Valentina Tereshkova. What do you know about schooling of Tereshkova? What do you know about the schooling of Tereshkova? And from the lessons, I like to read few lines about her schooling. Tereshkova began school in 1945 at the age of 8, but left school in 1953 and continued her education through distance learning. This is the information from the question, what do you know about schooling of Tereshkova? I repeat, Tereshkova began schooling in 1945 at the age of 8, but left school in 1957 and continued her education through distance learning. This is from page number 12 in the first stanza. You will see. Which trainings did she take? Which trainings did she take? I mentioned you early. Here mentioned some tests. You see isolation test, centrifuge test, spacecraft engineering. Here I like to read few lines from the text. Page number 12 once again from stanza 2nd. Tereshkova had to undergo a series of training that included weightless flight, isolation test, centrifuge test, rocket theory, spacecraft engineering, 120 parachute jumps, and pilot training in MiG-15 UTI jet fighters. This is a nice question. I repeat, which trainings did she take? Next one, what do you know about the birth of Tereshkova? What do you know about the birth of Tereshkova? What led to the selection of Tereshkova as a cosmonaut? What led to the selection of Tereshkova as a cosmonaut? How many applicants were there for the project? How many applicants? And you can imagine from this question's answer, out of more than 400 participants, 400 applicants, more than 400 applicants, Tereshkova was selected or recruited. That means what a talent she had. Next one. What do you know about Soviet Union? What do you know about Soviet Union? With the introduction of the words, I have shown you Soviet Union. The former name, it was the USSR. That means the full name of USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. And this is the largest country of the world, and after being collapsed in 1990s, Soviet Union became 15 countries in total after being collapsed, and Russia is still the largest country of the world. And Russia was, of course, in Soviet Union, and the capital city of Russia is Moscow, and the Soviet Union regime, it was also the capital city. Next one. Who is Vladimir Putin? Who is Vladimir Putin? A very familiar name from Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. He was the Prime Minister, and he could actually meet Valentina Tereshkova. Tereshkova had a desire, and she also expressed to Vladimir Putin to fly to Mars. What did Tereshkova express to Vladimir Putin? This is also a nice question. I like to read a few sentences from this question's answer. What did Tereshkova express to Vladimir Putin? You see, from page number 13, at the end of these lessons, you see, on her 70th birthday, when she was invited by the Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, she expressed her desire to fly to Mars, even if for a one-way trip. That was the desire of Valentina Tereshkova to Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. Now you see, number 2. As usual, I actually put a lot of emphasis for your learning particular question number 2 for flow chart. And here I have written, you can see, make a flow chart showing the activities of Valentina Tereshkova after her successful launch of a spacecraft. And option is also there, or make a flow chart showing a series of training that Valentina Tereshkova had to undergo, and one is done for you. In the question paper, it will be like this: one is done for you. That means out of these 6 boxes, the number 1 will be filled with the information, and the remaining 5 you will have to complete the boxes with relevant and short information. The first one, weightless flight, you can write. Do not miss the chance to notice the asking here, showing a series of training. Weightless flights, isolation test, centrifuge test, rocket theory, spacecraft engineering, pilot training in MiG-15 UTIZ. And these trainings I previously showed you from this introduction of these words and phrases. Some of them is still there: weightless flights, isolation test, centrifuge test, spacecraft engineering, MiG-15 UTIZ fighters. So this is a nice point, and I think you are almost sure to get the full marks from this particular question flow chart. And next one. You see, from the learning of the lessons in a complete manner, I have pointed some information regarding Valentina Tereshkova, and the informations I have pointed here, you will see these informations may be useful for your better learning and for your preparation of question number 6, that is for rearrangements. Even it may be also important for your question number 4 and 5, and even for writing a paragraph. So let's see what I have taken from this information from Tereshkova. Born in 1937 in Russia, her father a tractor driver, her mother worked in a textile plant, began school in 1945 at the age of 8, left school in 1953. Continued distance learning, that means she did not stop her learning. Though she left school, she continued education through distance learning. Became interested in parachuting, was trained in skydiving, and you see, this is the point for what she got priority from out of more than 400 applicants to be selected as an astronaut. Made her first jump at 22 on 21st May 1959, was employed as a textile worker. That was her job. Her expertise in skydiving led to be selected as a cosmonaut. Selection from more than 400 applicants, had to undergo a series of training. Her first flight on 16 June 1963 in Vostok 6. Solovyova was her backup cosmonaut. Tereshkova orbited the Earth 48 times. spent almost 3 days in space, communicated with Vygotsky, a cosmonaut, and Soviet leader Khrushchev by radio. That means from the outer space, Tereshkova communicated with these two great men. One was an astronaut Vygotsky and Soviet leader Khrushchev at that time. She earned doctorate in 1977 in engineering, became a presidium member of the Supreme Soviet. She was also a member of lower house of the Russian legislature, and of course she had a desire to fly to Mars. So all these fantastic informations from Tereshkova's life, I am sure you will get benefited from these informations to get better answers from questions and as well from the rearrangement's point of view. So my dear learners, once again I like to make you remember what I tried my best to present here today. From this particular lesson 3 unit 1 of Tereshkova's life, I had shown you some words and phrases first, and next I tried to show you some important questions with answers, and flowchart was there for the training of Tereshkova, and in the end you have seen that so many important points that may be very much essential for your writing rearrangements and also for a nice paragraph of Valentina Tereshkova. So that was my presentation today. I am sure you have enjoyed my online class and you have a lot of preparation, I think, to wait eagerly for the next class. And by this time I want to say goodbye here. Have a nice time. Best of luck. Thank you.